Demise by Mackalillan. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Dr. Seuss. Today, everything ended, but just for me. Every pony's lives continued as they should. Some cried, some laughed, and some others just lived their lives. But mine reached an end today. I used to be a light blue Pegasus pony with a royal and light blue mane. It was long. Enough to cover most of my face at times, but not long enough to touch my shoulders. I was a stallion. My name was Mac. My name was Mac. It was a normal day with my friend Pinkie Pie. Yes, that very same pink pony that lives in Sugarcube Corner. The always happy author of the Smile Song.
Why shouldn't I forgive you? You are my friend? Or are you?
Of course you're my best friend, but I didn't know if we still were because you have close friends, and I was all sorts of thinking maybe I'm your second best friend or something, but yay!
Of course not, Pinkie. You are and will always be.
Yay!
I smiled. She always made me smile. It was practically impossible to be with her and not smile. It was either her or silliness. Either silliness or her personality that made every pony in sight to draw a smile on their faces. But in telling her that she was my best friend and vice versa, she hugged me. She hugged me tighter than any time before. She then released me. I could feel my breath getting a bit heavier due to that, but I thought it wasn't anything important, until I saw her face. Her expression had changed from being the always beaming Pinkie Pie to a concerned one. She was worried, very worried. I grinned, thinking that would tell her that I was fine, but it didn't work, it seemed, and she had an excuse for that. I don't remember clearly what happened afterwards. I must have passed out. Just remember having an oxygen mask on my face while I was being taken to the hospital. Kind of weird at first, since it was only a common hug at the time, nothing more important, as if an emergency had occurred.
Pinkie, I'm okay.
She didn't listen. Her concern was too great, and it somewhat concerned me too. What was concerning her that much? Did I look that bad? Or there was a reason behind her concern that I didn't know?
Pinkie.
As I tried to listen to her voice, as I waited for her to explain to me what the buck was going on, I was hooked up to a life support system by some doctors. The whole scene was freaking me out, a lot. I was concerned, confused, and I was starting to get a bit impatient.
Pinkie, can you disconnect me? I'm fine.
Then a tear ran down her cheek. Then I knew there really was something very bad going on. She never cried, ever. In the time I've been here in Ponyville, the few times I've seen her cry was due to a very emotional, happy reason. But I've never seen her sad enough as to cry.
Why do you keep saying that, Mac?
Because I'm fine. I just needed a breath.
She looked away, as if either pain or sorrow overwhelmed her, and she couldn't look at me anymore. I didn't see or feel anything different on me, except the life support hooked to me and the sudden guilt I was feeling over Pink's depression. She left the room then, with no chance of leaving by myself now. I just rested there. A day passed. Well, it actually felt like a single day. Next morning, a doctor walked inside. I couldn't recognize him.
You've got a visitor, Mr. Mackalillan. You must be Mrs. Pie.
He turned to Pinkie, who was behind him, and she nodded sullenly. It was the first time in ages I heard some pony call me by my full name. Not even my son, who was adopted, by the way, or my fiancée called me like that. Speaking of which...
Can you tell me why are we doing this again, Pinkie?
I thought this was nothing but a prank, and not a good one, if I may recall. It wasn't.
You've forgotten already? I'm afraid the memory loss is becoming quite serious now, and That can only mean one thing.
I don't know how I contained myself upon hearing those words from the doctor. Memory loss? I mean, I have memory loss? Pinkie then started crying, and I knew this was no joke at all. As good as a prankster she is, she looked really bad. She was acting. She was doing way better than any cancel-out actress. But I didn't think she was acting. It just looked too real. She grabbed my hoof tightly and looked at me. From the look of her eyes, I could assume she had not slept in quite a while, which was weird considering just one day had passed since we last saw each other.
Mac, you've been here for 3 weeks.
Or so I thought. 3 weeks. It was not a day. They were 3 weeks. What happened in that time, I couldn't tell. Was I in a coma? Was I simply sleeping? Did I forget?
Shall I explain to him again, Mrs. Pie?
The doctor placed a hoof on her shoulder, and she nodded, then rested her forehead on my hoof. The whole scene was giving me goosebumps. I didn't know what was going on. Watching Pinkie suffer like this was just giving me a fatal blow. I couldn't stand it. But I waited. Maybe I could figure out something from what the doctor was going to tell me.
Mr. Mackalillan, you have been at the hospital for 3 weeks. Mrs. Pye here brought you in because you had been oxygen-starved. You passed out shortly after arrival, but as soon as we got your oxygen levels back up, however, you would not wake up.
My heart sank. How could I just forget the fact that I passed out? How could it feel these 3 weeks like a single day? My eyes started twitching, and I couldn't help it but to grimace upon hearing that. It was just too twisted.
I'm sorry, Mac.
I could feel her tears running down my hoof to the soft fabric of the bed as she looked at me with a gaunt expression. This was a nightmare, one I strangely couldn't wake up from.
No more hard hugs from now on?
I said jokingly, trying to comfort her. It didn't work. I haven't listened to the worst, yet.
You have a rare condition. Cortexial erotitis.
What the buck?
You don't remember? You don't remember anything? Please, Mac. This is the 5th time we've explained it to you.
She collapsed to my hoof again, sobbing. Not only have I spent 3 weeks here, but this was also the 5th time I had had this conversation. 5th time in 3 weeks. And I couldn't remember a single moment from that. I was starting to doubt if they were telling me the truth. It was just too twisted to be true.
I need tender heart.
Yes, her Cinderheart was my fiancée, and I was in the very same hospital she worked. This was just a bad prank. She would take me out of here, and so we would go back home to live our lives normally again. Then Pinkie stood up. She became incredibly pale. I had a bad feeling about that. A very bad one.
I'm sorry to have to put you through this again, Mr. Mackalillan, but you always have to ask the whereabouts of your wife.
My heart sank once again. But the bug was going on. Now it wasn't only me, but my fiancée as well. I could feel my hooves trembling in fear. I didn't know what to expect, what to hear.
Where is she?
Former Nurse Cinderheart attempted suicide after we explained your condition to you the 3rd time. Fortunately, a hospital staff member stopped her. She's now in strict psychiatric care as a danger to herself and other ponies. I'm afraid, Mr. Mackalillan, that your fiancée is clinically insane.
If this was a nightmare, this would have been the perfect moment for me to wake up. But I didn't. That only meant something. This was real. I was really ill, and my fiancée was really insane.
Would you like to know your condition, Mr. Mackalillan? Well, cortexula iridotis is a disease in which your brain cells have a malfunction. A malfunction meaning they continually destroy themselves. This means your memory erodes over time. You can't remember bigger and bigger chunks of your life. Every time we explain it to you, you forget within a few days. At this stage, it can only take a few hours for you to forget your birthday, name, and even your favorite color. Obviously, the eroding of your brain cells is an incredibly serious and fatal matter. I'm afraid, Mr. Mackalillan, that you will most likely pass away by the end of this week. It's Wednesday, in case you've forgotten that as well.
Great. For me, it was Sunday. I wasn't just losing memory. I didn't just lose my fiancée. I was going to die. Not in years or weeks, but in 4 days. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't scream. I couldn't whisper. I was surprised I could still breathe.
Oh, all this just for a hug?
It was not the hug that gave you this disease, Mr. Mackalillan. I advise you not to blame the poor pink pony outside. She was the only one who stayed around with you till the end. Your wife's crazy, your child's already been located in a new home. You don't seem to get any visits from any of your other friends. I believe they find it to be too painful. Mrs. Pie already berates herself for triggering your condition, but the disease lay dormant in your brain since the day of your birth.
Things were getting better each second.
Mackalillan, the last time we told you this, you screamed at the poor mare for half an hour. She still came to see you again the next day. You didn't speak to her for 2 days, until today, when you've forgotten everything once again. I'm going to ask Mrs. Pie if she would like to come back now, if that's okay with you.
Okay, let's make a quick recount of what has happened so far. I forgot all events that happened for the last 3 weeks. My fiancée almost committed suicide and was insane. My son was relocated. My friends abandoned me. And apparently, I shouted at Pinkie. It was just too much to bear. I had lost everything I knew until that point. My friends, my family, my life. I couldn't help it. I started crying, covering my face with a pillow. But then, I realized something. I still had some pony. The only pony who didn't abandon me, no matter what. My best friend. I could hear the doctor walk outside, and I could hear him speaking with Pinkie as well. I couldn't overhear their conversation, but I knew they were talking. Then I could hear the door open, and I could hear some pony coming inside.
Mac?
I recognized her voice, but I refused to look at her, my little foal pouting. I didn't want her to look at me like that either. Then, felt her hoof on my shoulder.
I'm sorry.
She was really sorry. But what for? She did nothing. I always had this illness. I assumed she was thinking about that hug 3 weeks ago, though I still doubted that time had really passed by. Was the catalyst of this illness. Yet, I said nothing. I could tell her figure from the corner of my eye. She was kneeling in the bed next to me. That scene didn't make things any easier, and neither did her words.
Please, Mac, say you forgive me. You didn't last time, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I forgive you. You did nothing wrong. Nothing at all.
I hugged you. I hugged you in the start of this whole thing.
Oh my god. She really thinks that was the cause. And, frankly, on this point I really gave up. I had no hope left.
He said it was not the hug. I've always had this. And now it's over. It's all over. But it's not important anymore. I'll end up forgetting it again.
Do you know why I didn't leave and all the others did?
Why?
Because after Tinder snapped, the time after that, when you forgot and I explained everything to you, well, you remember for a few days after that, and, well, I kept coming to see you. You kept being sad and depressed, and you seemed lonely, so I kissed you.
My heart sank a third time. She hadn't just stayed with me all this time. She was doing everything in her reach to comfort me, to make me feel happy, to make me smile. And yet, I was being a total jerk with her.
Pinkie.
She stayed silent now. What was she thinking? Was she going to leave me now? Was she already tired of me and all this?
My cult friend doesn't know. He doesn't come to see you anymore. You said thank you, you know, and then you kissed me back. I'm sorry, Mac. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to make you smile again, and then the next time you forgot. Last time you were a bit angry and you screamed at me, and it was like you were a different pony. But I thought maybe this time you'd be okay with it. Not with this, I mean, not with Tinder and the life support and everything, but with me kissing you.
I have to mention, I knew her cult friend. We were good friends, but seems he didn't consider me such a close friend after all. And who would? Apparently I kissed his mare friend. I'm not surprised he left. There was still a question knocking at the doors of my subconscious. Why did she kiss me?
There's nothing for me here. Just nothing. It's all over. It's over. Everything I knew. Gone.
I'm here.
She was really there for me. I was so depressed, so down, so out of spirits that I'd forgotten about her this whole time. Of course she was there for me. If she wasn't, she wouldn't bear with all this. She wouldn't be next to me right now.
I'm going to forget this, most likely.
But I won't. You know, you don't have to. Forget this, I mean.
She pulled a bottle from her mane. A small bottle. There had one small pill inside. I knew where this was going. I wasn't sure if I liked it.
The last time you got mad, you shouted that you wanted to die. So, I got this. In case that's what you wanted. That way, this time it really would be the last time. It could be the time that I remembered you by.
She was offering me the gift of death. She was offering me to end it all, once and for all. I didn't know what to say at first. I mean, she was my best friend. Or at least I still consider her my best friend, now more than ever. But was my condition really that bad? Oh, I will die this Sunday anyways. I guess it is.
I don't have anything left here. Nothing. And the few things I might still have will be erased from my memory anyway.
What awaits cheer up, eh?
I know. I'm being selfish, aren't I? I just want more time with you, Mac, but you should take this if you want to. It'll only be like going to sleep. I'd do that for you, I mean. I'd give this to you because I don't want you to suffer anymore. I hate seeing you suffer. I'm sorry, I should have given this to you ages ago, but the first few times you still had Tinder, and then I thought you had me, and then I was too scared to approach you. You wouldn't speak to me. But this time, I'm sorry, Mac. I'm so sorry.
She laid her head on the pillow next to mine and placed a bottle between us. I looked down to it and back to her. I didn't know what to do. I had no way out either, and I knew it. I just had two options: taking or not taking the pill. And one of the options meant everything would end today.
I don't know what to do.
I love you, Mac. Whatever you choose, I will always love you. You're my best friend, and a better kisser than my cult friend.
She managed to do it again. For the first time that day, I smiled. I couldn't contain a chuckle either. Quickly snapped back to reality. A single ray of hope illuminated my soul now. It was her. She was the only pony I had left in what was left of my already destroyed life.
I sometimes wonder why life is so hard.
I saw that smile. At least I got one out of you. So, is this it?
She placed her hoof on my face, holding it gently. She then glanced at the bottle.
So is this it?
I don't know.
I couldn't contain myself anymore. A tear ran down my cheek. I knew it was the end. It's easier to think it than to say it. Not to mention having to say that to your best friend, and maybe your last one left.
I lost my fiancé, my son, my friends, everything. And I don't know how long I'll remember that I've lost them, that I've lost it all. But then there's you.
She grabbed my hoof again, this time with a sudden urgency. It comforted and freaked me out a bit. But come on. I had enough the whole day. There was nothing that could freak me out again.
I'll be okay, you know. If this is what you want. It's just, if you decide to go, would you let me kiss you one last time?
I couldn't believe it. Apparently we had kissed before. Did she want to kiss me again? But why? This confused me a lot. It would have left me thinking for weeks, if I had the pleasure of time.
I haven't decided yet.
I held her hoof more tightly between mine. I'm not going to lie. I was afraid to lose her as well.
I don't know what to do. What should I do?
Do whatever you want, Mac. You said before. It doesn't matter now. You won't remember anything. It doesn't matter. Except it matters to me.
I could notice her breathing getting heavier. She was pretty nervous, and I couldn't blame her. I was pretty nervous too, but not exactly because I was going to die, eventually.
If only there was another way.
She put on a pretty bad impression of a TV announcer and changed her voice tone slightly.
And our final question is death or death. Mackalillan, our current contestant, has a few days maximum to answer this question, and on the line today is his best friend's heart.
If the circumstances were different, I would have laughed. For obvious reasons, I didn't. I rubbed my cheek on her hoof, something I never did before. At least with Pinkie.
You know, I promise I'll visit your grave every day. And I'll sing you the Smile song once a week if you'd like. I could sing it now, if you'd like.
That certainly was encouraging.
So, you think this is the only way to, I'm not surprised. It's all over.
You die either way, Mac. It's just whether it's now or in a few days' time. All this won't even exist to you anymore.
As bad as it sounded, she was right. My time was already counted, and it decreased each second we spoke.
You're right.
This was being more difficult than what I thought.
I just wish this was easier for you. More than it is for me. I already have no pony left. No pony will cry at my funeral. But you, right now, my only concern is you.
I wasn't lying. She was my only concern now. I knew I was going to die one way or another, and Pinkie was the only pony I had left.
I'll be okay, Mac. I mean, I won't be okay. Of course I won't. But this is as good as it gets. I just want you to go as my best friend. The friend I know you as right now. Not the brainwashed Mac you'll be in a few days. I don't want you to go. But you have to, Mac. Either way, I'll cry. Either way, you die. I just want to make you happy. I thought this pill would do the trick, but it's all so complicated.
I just pulled her closer and hugged her. I didn't know what to say anymore. The decision was more than obvious now. For something else happened. Before I lost my mind once again. I had to do it. End it all. Now.
It's fine, Mac. I'm more of a fault than you.
No, don't say that, Pinkie. Don't blame yourself on this.
You did.
I didn't want to blame her for something she didn't do. Not again. Doing it once and not remembering was already bad enough.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I hugged her tightly, not too tightly, fearing that she would be in the same condition as me. The stupid concern, since the hug was not the catalyst. She then pulled back, and looking in my eyes, and vice versa.
I can't believe it never occurred to me that you were so much more than a best friend.
What do you mean, Pinkie?
I mean, you're special, Mac. I realized when you kissed me back that time, but of course you don't remember.
I hate this damn illness more than I did before during that moment. I'm surprised I could hold my tears.
I
looked down to the bottle again. I wanted to do it, but At the same time, I didn't want to leave Pinkie. Not after what she has told me. Things were just getting more difficult.
Are you ready to decide?
No.
She then did something I didn't expect. She leaned in and kissed my cheek. When I looked at her, I could notice her cheeks flushed. She then whispered in my ear.
I'll stay with you until you're ready.
Thank you, Pinkie.
I laid my head on her chest. I was like a little kid being comforted after a traumatic experience. I felt comfortable with her. I felt safe. I felt normal. As if time could flow and nothing would ever change. But even I knew that was not true. I could feel her hooves stroking my mane as she held me gently.
Shh, it's okay.
This is being more difficult than what I thought.
Whatever you choose, whatever happens, you'll be here.
She raised her hoof to her chest. I could see it. Some realization then crossed my mind. I couldn't say a word. I just held her tightly, resting my forehead on her shoulder. I couldn't contain myself anymore.
I just want you to die happy. Or as happy as I can make you.
She nudged the bottle. It may have sounded cruel, but she was right.
I've lost everything but you, Pinkie. That's pretty much impossible.
I smiled faintly, and led my face closer to hers, feeling a bit more confident. It was now or never, literally.
I just wish this was easier.
Would it be easier if I told you I didn't have feelings for you? Didn't want to be your friend and never wanted to see you again? I'm sorry, but that would be lying.
I understand. I can't just do it after knowing all that. Not that easily.
It'll save you the pain of having to find this all out again. And it will let me spend your last moments with the Mac I know and love.
You're just too kind, Pinkie. You don't deserve this suffering either.
No pony deserves any of this. But it can't be helped. It would be like going to sleep. For the last time.
My last sleep. It sounded a bit more comfortable than losing my mind when the day ended, and no one knowing what was of my final minutes.
Yeah, but me dying is the least of my concerns.
I couldn't hide the fact that I was worried for her anymore, that I loved her.
Zach, I'm gonna be sad either way. It can't be helped. But I know I'll feel better if I helped you make the right choice. The right choice for you.
What would you do, Pinkie? What would you do in my place?
If our situations were reversed, you mean?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'd take the pill. I'd hate to become some pony I'm not for the last few days of my life. And this way we could be sure to end on good terms.
I could tell she was a bit unsure at the moment. But she was right. Neither of us knew what would happen tomorrow. If I would still be myself or somebody else again. and I feared how I'd become the pony that shouted at her before. I had to decide what to do with my last moments, leaving another part of my mind to shout at her until I died was definitely not in my plans.
Then I think I know what to do.
I grabbed the bottle, and when I did, she pressed it into my hoof, and then she looked to my face.
When you take the pill, you'll have about 5 minutes before it takes effect. Then another 3 minutes before you finally fall unconscious, and your vital organs will slow and eventually stop. We have 8 minutes, Mac. 8 minutes to say goodbye. It's the last time that I hope, but I think this is for the best.
She couldn't hold it, and neither could I. I dried the tear that was already running on her cheek with my hoof, and forced a faint smile. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't have made it.
This will be the best thing in the end, Pinkie. Ready?
I opened the bottle and placed the pill in my hoof. I was finally ready to take it. She nodded.
8 minutes. Tell me when you're getting sleepy.
She smiled, and so did I. I nodded, and with all of my guts, I took the pill. The pill that would kill me. The pill that would, hopefully, give us peace. All of us.
Well, this is it, Pinkie.
I took a deep breath and sighed. She crawled into the bed, lying next to me, facing me. Her muzzle was centimeters from mine. I never thought we would see each other like this. Not one on the edge between life and death. No. But such an intimate way.
I'm gonna miss you, Mac. You'll always be the best friend ever. The best kisser, too.
It's hard to imagine it, Pinkie. Really, I mean, you say I did it, but I still can't remember it.
I'll always remember it. It was like a whole other part of my arm opened up just for you. Like fireworks going off in my chest.
Well, I'm certainly glad you enjoyed it.
I wish I knew if you had.
She looked at me in a different way than before, like as if she was reliving the moment in her head. It was hard to tell, though, knowing the fact that I did not remember that.
Well,
I could feel my face getting hotter. I blushed.
I suppose there's only one way to know.
Are you sure? I don't want to make you kiss me, Mac.
So sorry, I
soon regretted saying that. Not even in my last moments I was clever. Felt her hoof lifting my chin. She frowned.
What's wrong, Mac? I only have a few minutes to sort it out.
I forgot about it. I had my time counted. Even more than before. I had days, but after taking the pill I had minutes. And the clock kept ticking. It wouldn't stop to let me think on what to say. But even so...
Nothing. It's just that I don't know what to think, Pinkie. I mean...
Without feeling it, I held her a bit closer. I barely noticed her nose was already touching mine. I looked into her eyes. They were sparkling. Never saw them pretty before.
I think maybe just once more.
I smiled faintly. My face was still blushing.
This, I...
Then I did it, almost out of instinct. I pressed my lips against hers. Strangely enough, her lips locked perfectly in time with mine, like two dancers taken to the floor. It was magical. It was beautiful. I could feel her hoof pressing against the back of my head, pulling me deeper into the kiss. I caressed her fluffy curly mane, and as soon as I snapped back into reality, I could feel a tear running down my cheek. She pulled away. She pecked my lip once, twice, once more, before opening her eyes and looking back into mine.
I shouldn't have, but I suppose I did. So, did you like it?
She smiled and licked my nose. I couldn't help it, and I smiled. I didn't like it. I loved it.
Yes. Neither should I.
And then remember what we were doing. I kissed the male friend of one of my friends. I frowned and looked down, quickly regretting doing that. Something quite stupid, since I wouldn't be able to do it again. Ever.
Sorry, Pinkie.
You have an excuse. You're dying. Kissing him won't be the same again.
She then kissed me tenderly again, out of nowhere.
4 minutes left. You'll start getting sleepy in a moment. I can't believe this is it.
4 minutes left. I had only 1 minute of consciousness. This was it. This was really the end. I knew it was coming, but I couldn't believe it.
Neither can I, Pinkie. Thank you, Pinkie. Thank you for all of this.
Anything for a friend, Mac. I just can't believe that I'm never gonna be able to hear your voice again. Tell me you love me.
It's not until the end when you notice what you have. And at that very moment, I knew I had Pinkie with me, always, as a best friend, and as special sun pony. She was always there for me, even in the end. I hugged her tightly as I could then, and caressed her mane, until I finally whispered in her ear.
I love you, Pinkie.
I love you.
I love you too, Nick. I love you too.
I could tell she glanced somewhere. The clock.
Feeling sleepy? We only have 3 minutes left now.
A little. I guess this is it.
I touched my forehead with her own and closed my eyes. I didn't want to sleep, but I couldn't fight back. Not for long.
I don't want to leave. But there's no other way, is it?
No. Not now. I wish this moment would last forever. You still there, Mac?
I opened my eyes, fearing I would fall asleep involuntarily. I knew this was the end, Yet I didn't want to leave. Didn't want to lose Pinkie.
Yes, I'm still here.
I raised my hoof to caress her cheek, and halfway there she grabbed with both hooves, clinging to it.
I... Goodbye, Mac.
She gave me a last soft kiss before she closed her own eyes and drew the biggest smile I could for her. It would be the last one.
Goodbye, Pinkie. I will never forget you.
I closed my eyes, feeling my breath getting weaker already. I wasn't awake anymore. I could still felt her forehead pressing against mine. I could feel her breath.
Bestest friends forever, Mac. Forever. And ever. And...
I could feel her hoof on my face. I wanted to shout, but I couldn't.
ever.
She curled into a tight ball under the covers. I had my hooves still resting on her shoulder. I felt her sobbing, and, involuntarily, I held her closer to me, like a small child holds his teddy bear close to himself on his sleep. Then I could feel her hugging me. I felt her ear pressing against my chest as it became weaker and weaker, till it finally died. I do know what my expression was, though. I was smiling. Pinkie could steal from me one last smile. One that would last forever. She looked up, peeling an eye to him, to see if he was still alive. But noticing he wasn't, tears cascaded down her face. She curled again to his chest, finally finding herself, after nights of staying awake from him, falling asleep, being held by his cold, dead arms. Epilogue.
Each passing day, we wake up. We wake up hoping for betterness. We wake up expecting to live through the day. But are we sure of what awaits us? Do we even know what will the future tell us? How do you know if you'll wake up tomorrow? None of us know, unless we've seen the future. But that's pretty much impossible. It isn't until the very end, when we know what we have, we see who are the ones who really love us, who are the ones who really care for us. But it doesn't matter anymore. The clock is ticking. I can hear it. I can hear the seconds pass by. I can feel the life fading from my body. 3 weeks have gone by. Yet, it felt only like a day. Maybe because it was a day for me after all. But even if I discovered a lot of things, betrayal, abandonment, you're showing me the magic still exists, and not your everyday unicorn magic either, but the magic of friendship, the friendship you gave me that will live forever. I can't remember the first time we met, Pinkie, when I arrived to this small town, Ponyville, and you all shared the magic of friendship with me. But I never imagined that you would stay with me until the very end. I doubted I'll still have enough of what's left in my life to thank you. When everything was lost for me, you were there even when I hurt you. You didn't quit. You stayed here until the end. But this is it. I just wish I could have waited a little more. But it's too late for regrets now. I'm already on my final sleep. And I can't tell you all this. It's all in my mind. And hell, does it even matter? I won't be able to hug you, or kiss you, or even hear your voice again. I'm going to miss you, and everybody else, even if they abandoned me in the end. But you didn't, and that fills me with joy and breaks my heart at the same time. I just wish you didn't see me like this. I just wish we had more time. My arms already feel cold, and I can't breathe anymore. Yet, I still feel your warmth. I know you're still here, but my time is over. I'm not here anymore. It's time for my demise. Goodbye, Pinkie. I will never forget you. Best friends forever and ever and ever.
The end.